let's say this does not work out. How does it affect the franchise and the future of Lynch and Shanahan?
Let's start with Lynch and Shanahan.
Okay.
I think this gets one or both fired. One could be this year, one could be the year after. But this is the kind of thing, if you get it wrong, it's usually such a big mess that ownership wants a new group to clean it up. Because you just spent you have to start over pretty much. You have no first round picks. If this doesn't work out, you have to gut the team and start over. This to me is very strange. And when you say it feels like a Jed York move, I agree, because the RG3 trade is what got Kyle and Mike run out of Washington. From all reports, it wasn't what they wanted to do. Dan Snyder wanted RG3. He wanted to trade up. And Kyle was so upset, he forced Dan to allow them to draft Kirk Cousins in the same draft. They took 2 quarterbacks in the same draft. Anyway, RG3 has a good first year, sets the expectations high, gets hurt, comes back, is terrible. The team stinks, and they're gone. It seems like you raise the stakes on yourself, and if that quarterback falls, any short of the lofty expectations you created by trading that much for him, you're fired. You're fired.
So you think Lynch, and we wonder about how solid Lynch is with that organization anyway. We have no inside information, but something doesn't smell right to me. And after that, they would give Shanahan 1 more year, and then he'd be out too, although they extended him they give him 1 million years. I mean, it's another Jed York where what's the hurry with this guy? But okay, so there would be, and for the if it doesn't work out for the organization, again, as opposed to saying the Niners are an elite organization, they know what they're doing, which is how we've come to look at them.
Yes.
You'd say, not anymore, not since this family took over. They used to be when Eddie was in charge and he had Bill and George, but not with this family. I mean,
any success they get is fleeting and gone.
Right. And it's gone because they kick it out the door.
Right.
It's not something that happens to them. It's something they do.
That's right. That's right. So I don't understand why Kyle would recreate the move that got him fired in Washington. It seems to me that trading all these picks for a quarterback creates impossible expectations for the player and the coach. You have to be great. What are the odds of that? And if you're not, I get fired. What coach wants to put themselves in that position? That feels like almost like an ultimatum from the owner. Hey, guys, I'm tired of the Jimmy Garoppolo experience. You got to figure something out at quarterback this year. Okay, well, we're going to get fired one way or another. Let's shoot the moon and see what we can get at the 3rd pick. And if it doesn't work out, we were screwed anyway.
And the other thing that troubles me about getting the leftover at the 3rd pick, and the leftover is a pretty good word.
Yeah.
He may be a tremendous leftover, but it's the leftover. I used to watch practice when Bill Walsh was coaching. I know I mentioned Bill a lot. He's the greatest coach I ever covered, and it's how I think about football. And I used to see him talking to Joe and to Steve. When he was talking to Joe, he'd hold the ball in his right hand. Bill was a lefty, and he'd show him this. He could do it with his right hand. And when he showed Steve, he'd go like that. And I asked him about that, and he said, Lowell, I think of the game through the quarterback position. That's how I think of the game. I mean, wouldn't you think of the game that way? I mean, hello.
Yes.
So he said, I think of the game through the quarterback position. Now we know he developed 2 of the greatest quarterbacks who ever lived.
Yes.
Whoever this guy is who's coming in, I have no confidence that Kyle Shanahan can think through his point of view and can develop him.
Absolutely
it's
not.
Not like he's saying, oh, Bill Walsh is there. Mac Jones is going to come in, and by game 3, he'll be Joe Montana. I don't feel that. Not with Kyle Shanahan.
No, and the way I look at it too, Kyle is convincing himself he can win right away with Mac Jones. Mac Jones, again, has 570 throws in college. Bill used to tell you and our cousin a lot that quarterback is a game of repetitions. It's a position of reps. The more you play, the better you get. And the only way you get those reps is in a real game because practice isn't the same. So you know who else had about 570 throws in college? Joe. Joe didn't get a lot of throws at Notre Dame. It was a run first place, and he sat on the bench on the Niners. He wasn't ready to go in 1979 or even in 1980. If he had played 16 games in 1979, what would have happened, Dad?
It's true. Bill was very shrewd. He brought him in. He kept Steve DeBerg in there, even though DeBerg had liabilities. A nice
Yes.
guy had liabilities, but he made Joe sit, and he made Steve sit for 4 years. Steve wasn't ready either.
It seemed to me, I don't want to speak for a guy who's passed away, but he was trying to set up these young guys for success as opposed to throwing them in, having them totally fail for years and being like, hey, that's good. Good experience. Doing everything wrong.
That's a good point.
Yes.
He was setting them up for success. That's the
Yes.
key thing. And what you're saying is, unless Mac Jones, if it's him or whoever it is, comes in as a superstar, you're setting them up for disappointment.
The only quarterback that ever who's really succeeded right away with that little of a resume in college is Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray doesn't really play quarterback. He's the best athlete in the league. He runs around and then he makes plays. I mean, he was a top 10 pick in 2 sports. Mac Jones isn't that. He's supposed to be coming in and being a precision pocket quarterback like Tom Brady, and that's going to take a lot of time to develop, a lot of time. He's not just going to run around and make things happen.
Also, Kyler Murray, he doesn't see a lot of open receivers.
And that's a function of him playing 1 year of college football. I mean, he's still learning the game. Fortunately for him, he can scramble around and make plays while he's learning. That's not going to be Mac Jones. He's just going to be the guy taking hits, throwing picks, looking a lot like Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard and Jimmy Garoppolo until he has more experience. If it were Bill, he wouldn't play Mac Jones right away. But the problem with the Niners' options are their options at 3 are Mac Jones, who's got about 570 throws, Justin Fields, who's got about 610, and Trey Lance, who's got 310. So good luck. They all need to sit. None of them's ready. None of them.
What if I say to you, gee, Grant, you argued both sides, but you sound much more committed to the negative side. You're being very negative today. I'm a fan, okay? God, why do you have to be so negative?
I feel like the only Niner, like this is the time of the offseason where Niner fans want to believe in every move that the team makes, that is good, because what's the point in being negative? But if you talk to impartial observers of this trade, our cousin, I went out to dinner with my friend Devin the other night, who's a Raider fan. He said, so tell me about that trade. Seems a little like a desperate move, right? Like, I think that's how everyone looks at it. You just traded 3 first-round picks for the 3rd pick in the draft. Who does that? No one's ever done that before. It's very strange. It seems out of character for everyone in the organization except Jed York. And I don't think Jed York makes good decisions. So that's why I'm a little down on it. I just don't believe that any quarterback they take at 3 is going to be as good as they think. And I do think that this is going to be the move that gets them all fired, which is too bad.